We're in Denver, Colorado at EnerCom's 19th annual Oil and Gas Conference. Joining me now is Chad Stowe, who leads the Technology Risk Services practice at Hein and Associates. Hi, Chad.
Hi, thank you.
Now, what are some things all companies can do to secure their data?
Well, there are several things that companies can do, even in the energy space, that are really simple and cost-effective for any company out there. Really, some of the things include like doing security awareness training with their employees, using encryption technologies whenever they're possible and available for the company to use. Also, to make sure that they put intrusion protection systems in place so that when like a cyber event actually takes place, they're able to detect when it happens and also trace what actually happened. But then also, too, on top of all that, making sure that they protect all the mobile devices, because in the energy space, a lot of companies have all these cell phones, smartphones, tablets out in the field. How do you protect that and the data that's stored on them? Can be a critical risk that needs to be mitigated for all companies.
Tell us about mobile device security.
With mobile device security, a lot of companies really need to make sure that all the information that is passing from their data centers or out into the field onto all these mobile devices is clearly protected and secured from outsiders, because information really is important in any organization and is of value to almost anybody. Most people think that information is only related to its value in monetary purposes. But when you talk in oil field services, or you talk about different R&D projects that are going on, if a hacker was able to get information that was related to, say, where you're doing your latest research and development for a new potential site that you could be drilling some new wells in, that'd be very, very potential valuable information to your competitors and other outsiders who might be willing to pay quite a bit of money to jump your claims or possible claims in the future, so that they can capitalize on those investments before you can.
So you also have some interesting stories about executive spoof emails. Talk about that.
Correct. Most recently, one of the companies that we've been dealing with, the CEO was on a business trip. And while the CEO was on a business trip, the controller actually got an email directly from the CEO saying, hey, can you wire this hundreds of thousands of dollars to this bank account, which was overseas? Funny thing is, 3 days later, the CEO gets back and the controller asks the questions, well, where do you want me to categorize this on our general ledger and financial statements? The CEO says, what email? What are you speaking of? Controller showed him the email, was quite shocked that the email even came through, and it came through using his email address and actually looked authentically coming from him. Another case that we're dealing with, I recently wrote an article that one of the things that came out with in 2013, 3,000 companies were contacted by federal agencies to tell them that either their servers had been hacked or their servers had been hacked and used in a cyber attack against somebody else. And in most cases, the company was not even aware of the attack themselves. That's a very scary thought if I'm an executive in any organization. It's become a really big board topic in most boardrooms this year.
So where do we go from here then?
Well, one of the things that companies really need to define is everybody understands everything that's happening in the cybersecurity world around losing credit card information, their bank account information, and so forth. However, the problem is most boards are trying to figure out, we understand what could happen, but what's the risk and how do I mitigate that risk? But at the end of the day, how do they derive a correct risk appetite that's correct for their organization? Because most smaller organizations or mid-sized companies can't afford to spend millions of dollars on cybersecurity equipment and software. But the biggest question for them is, what can they afford and what risk appetite do they have that goes along with the budgetary needs of the organization?
Chad, is there anything else you think our viewers should know?
One of the things that all the viewers really should understand is cybersecurity isn't going to go away. These attacks are constantly changing on a daily basis. They're detected, and then the second they're detected, the next day they've changed, and now they're going from different perspectives. So it's something you've got to keep a handle on. It's something that most executives really need to understand. Grasp this by the bull of the horns, or horns of the bull, so to speak, and really say we need to derive and continually monitor the risks within the organization around cybersecurity.
Chad, great information. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
I'm Quinn Nguyen for oilandgas360.com.